Good afternoon and welcome to Taking Charge of Your Future with Financial Planning, hosted by the National Credit Union Administration. My name is Ashley Gordon. I'm the Financial Literacy and Outreach Program Officer with the NCUA's Office of Consumer Financial Protection. I will be your moderator for this broadcast. Welcome. Before we begin, I'd like to share a few administrative notes. Next slide. First, all attendees will be in listen-only mode. Second, if you have questions, you can submit them at any time using the Q&A located at the bottom right of your corner screen. It's in your WebEx console. To submit a question, simply click the Q&A button, type in your question in the box provided, and click Send. Third, if your volume sounds like it's too low, check to make sure that your volume is turned all the way up on your computer. If that doesn't work, you may have to plug in external speakers. Last, closed captions will be available within the WebEx console. To enable captions, click on the CC in the bottom left of your console to activate. Next slide. This is just a quick disclaimer that I'll share with you. The views and opinions expressed are those of the presenters and do not reflect the official views of, nor should be considered an endorsement by, the Board of Directors, management, or staff of the National Credit Union Administration. Next slide. Now I would like to introduce today's speakers. First, we have Lanta Evans-Mott. She is a financial advisor with Raymond James. Good afternoon and welcome, Lanta. Also, we have Mark Anthony Cruz, the Marketing and Branding Manager for Labor Credit Union, and with him, Audra Pettis, who is the Vice President of Operations with Labor Credit Union. Welcome to you all and thank you for being here. Next slide. Now I will welcome Angel McEachin with the NCUA to give opening remarks. Angel?
Thanks, Ashley. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. As Ashley mentioned, I'm Angel McEachin, the Director for the Division of Consumer Affairs here at the NCUA, and I'm pleased to have you here with us for this very important conversation. October Financial Planning Month, a reminder and opportunity for Americans to reflect on their financial goals, assess where they are, and put together a plan to get to where they want to be. Financial planning is a journey, one that requires information, strategy, and consistency. A well-structured plan helps you navigate the complexities of your personal finances and give you a clear roadmap to follow along the way. This webinar aims to make that journey a little easier and more empowering for each of you. While many people think of financial planning as just budgeting and savings, it's really about assessing your finances, setting goals, understanding the resources and benefits available to you, and developing a strategy that you can commit to. Having a plan helps you take control of your financial future. With a solid plan, you have a clear strategy for your money and can make smarter decisions to stay on track of your goals. The numbers remind us of how crucial it is to plan. Studies show that only about 35% of Americans have long-term financial plans in place, and 50% don't have enough savings to cover an emergency expense. The reality is that unexpected events and rising living costs can make it hard to keep up. And without a plan, it's even harder to stay on course. And we know that credit unions play a vital role in building the capacity of their members and the communities they serve. In addition to financial literacy programs, many credit unions offer financial planning resources to support members at every stage of their journey. So we're excited to have a credit union participate on today's webinar to share more about their specific programming and resources. Our hope is that today's session will equip you with practical steps to start or refine your financial planning so you can take charge of your finances confidently. Throughout this webinar, we'll cover essential topics to help you set achievable goals and we'll discuss tools that get you closer to your vision of financial success. We're excited to have today's experts share insights, answer questions, and guide us through the financial planning process. So thank you for joining us today, and let's get started on the path to taking charge of your financial future. Lonta, I'll pass it to you.
Thank you so much, Director McEachin. I'm Wanta Evans-Mott, and I am an investment executive and financial advisor with Raymond James Financial Services. I'm delighted to be here with you today. Next slide. Let me start by saying that none of us are born knowing about money and finances. Financial skills must be taught, learned, and practiced. I began my personal finance journey after completing my undergraduate degree in accounting and an MBA in finance. When I joined Hewlett-Packard, I had a lot of knowledge about corporate finance, but didn't know much about personal finance or how to take advantage of the wonderful benefits package that they offered. So I began seeking out financial workshops internally and externally, reading financial books and magazines, and got excited about what I was learning. So I began sharing with others. After 10 years of providing free workshops, I joined the financial industry full-time. So I've been a full-time financial advisor for more than 20 years and a financial educator for more than 30. Next slide. It seems that everywhere you turn, someone is telling you what to do with your money. Many of us are inundated by information overload, yet we are often starved for intelligent insight and analysis. For instance, most people focus on their age when they discuss retirement, but the better focus should be on income. As George Foreman said, the question isn't at what age you want to retire, it's at what income. So today we'll be discussing financial planning, the components, the benefits, and then we'll also discuss some investing insights related to implementation of your potential financial plan. Also discuss various types of risk that you may incur, some investing strategies, and then also some insights related to selecting professionals that can assist you with various aspects of financial planning. Next slide. To develop your financial plan, you'll need to take a financial inventory of everything you own and the debts you owe, known as assets and liabilities, or balance sheet. And that balance sheet will become the foundation of a healthy, achievable financial plan. Now, the focus areas of your comprehensive financial plan could entail one or more of the following areas: investment planning, retirement planning, tax planning, education planning, insurance planning, and estate planning. And the estate planning is wills, trusts, charitable remainder trusts, those types of investment products and services. Common financial goals could include establishing an emergency fund. As the director just mentioned, that's an issue for a lot of Americans, or reducing high interest credit card debt. And credit unions have a lot of resources to help you with some of those type of services. Your financial goals could be a little bit more complicated, like how to manage your employer benefit selections or how to minimize your income taxes. And then for retirees, creating a lifetime income stream can be an important financial goal, along with determining when to file for Social Security. Next slide, please. Now, in terms of creating a financial plan, you could do it yourself, or you could enlist financial professionals to assist you. The first step would be to assess your current financial situation. You're going to be reviewing your income, assets, liabilities, your insurances, your estate plans, and then what you're trying to do is identify your financial strengths, but also any vulnerabilities that you have so you can shore those up. The second step would be determining and prioritizing your financial goals. Most people may not have enough money to accomplish all of their goals right away. So you'll need some short-term goals, some midterm goals, some longer-term goals, but you'll also need to prioritize those goals as you are developing that plan. Then once you develop the plan, the next step is actually to implement the plan, where you're taking some actionable steps that have defined goals and timelines, and then you can implement those plans using various investment products or insurance solutions, or working with an estate planning attorney to do your estate planning documents as you might need to accomplish the goals of your plan. The fourth step, and this one is really important, is to evaluate the progress of your plan with periodic reviews. Your financial plan and your financial planning process is ongoing, and it is going to require periodic reviews because your life will change, which means your plans may need to change as your life situation changes over time. Next slide. So financial planning, and then the various investment tools that you might need to do to implement that financial plan. A lot of people ask, well, can I do it myself? Do I have to pay someone else to assist me? Certainly, if you have the expertise and the time and you can keep up with all the changes, it might be possible for you to do it yourself. But if you think it's easy enough to do for yourself, what are the considerations that you may be missing? Next slide, please. So many people, let's start with the basics. A lot of people are aware of some basic financial or investment goals or strategies for achieving long-term goals when you're doing long-term investing. So we're going to cover those just to have a baseline of information that might be helpful when you are developing your financial plan and have your long-term goals in mind. The first one, and we've heard a lot about it in the news lately, is don't lose ground to inflation. At just a 3% annual inflation rate, a $100 item today will cost you $181 in 20 years. The second tip is invest based on your time horizon. When do you expect to need the money? If you have short-term needs, meaning you'll need the money in the next 1 to 6 months, then cash reserves should be used for any short-term needs. The third item, consider your risk tolerance. How well can you handle possible investment losses? How well can you handle market volatility, the market going up and down, whether those investments are paper losses or real losses? What is your desire to experience volatility? And here we're trying to assess both your ability and your willingness to take risk. The fourth item, integrate retirement planning with your other financial goals. Now, for most people, retirement planning is going to be a goal, although it might be a longer term goal if you are younger. But it is important to start early. So integrating retirement with your other financial goals is an important strategy. Establishing that emergency fund that the director talked about at the beginning is super important, because it's important for you to avoid tapping your retirement savings earlier than planned, because there could be some penalties associated with accessing your retirement account before you hit the designated ages. And then the last strategy, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Diversify. And what you want to do here is diversify across different types of investments that can help you manage the portfolio ups and downs, the market volatility that I spoke about earlier. Understand that different investments face different types of risk, like market risk, credit risk, liquidity risk, interest rate risk, etc. And then finally, remember that some of these strategies, like dollar cost averaging, diversification, asset allocation, they can help you manage your portfolio and your strategy, but they do not protect you against all losses. Next slide, please. More on saving for retirement and the retirement planning portion of your financial plan. If you can hit the next button. Thank you. Retirement accounts allow you to save taxes and prepare for retirement. And some of the best ways to do that It's going to be through your employer-sponsored plans, like the 401k, 403b, the TSP for federal employees. Those plans are going to allow you to save a lot of money per year. For 2024, it's 23,000 for most employees, and if you're age 50 or older, it's 30,500 with that catch-up provision. So that's a lot of money you can save just 2024 in your employer-sponsored plans, those ones that I mentioned. And then if you're self-employed, a SEP IRA or a simple IRA, those calculations and numbers are a little bit different. And then for a lot of people, you might be able to contribute either to a traditional or Roth, but your ability to contribute or deduct to either that traditional or Roth might be affected by a number of factors, including your filing status, your age, other income sources you have, and whether you have access to a workplace retirement plan. Now, if you are able, the annual amount for 2024 for both of those IRAs is $7,000, and if you're 50 and over, it's $8,000 with that catch-up provision. The employer match can be a very substantial benefit over time, but do keep in mind that those matching contributions from an employer are often subject to a vesting schedule. So please consult with your financial advisor for more information on that. Next slide, please. So when we're talking about risk and the investment planning portion of your retirement, of your financial plan, there are a lot of different risks that you need to be aware of. Now, a lot of people are familiar with perhaps market risk, credit risk, inflation risk, which we've heard a lot about. You've heard a lot about interest rates with when the Fed changes those. So interest rate risk you might be familiar with, but a lot of these other risks you might not be as familiar with. Liquidity, how easy is it for your investment to be liquidated so that you have the cash to use. Political and economic risk, credit risk, call or reinvestment risk, the industry company risk. If all of your investments are with the same company or within the same industry, if something really traumatic happens to that company or that industry, then all of your investments would be impacted. So that type of risk is really important to manage. The currency risk, and then market timing risk. So there are a lot of risks that your investments might be exposed to, and it doesn't matter whether you're aware of those risks. They exist whether you are aware or not. So it speaks to continuing your quest for financial information, for financial education, so that you can become more aware, and then you can try to mitigate some of those risks. Next slide, please. So as we talk about investor priorities, a comprehensive plan, which is specific to you, can help you understand your specific goals, your specific circumstances, and your specific preferences, which should drive the specific investment vehicles that might be appropriate for you when you are trying to implement those items that you have prioritized in your plan. So for instance, when I started in corporate America, I mentioned I started with Hewlett Packard. I didn't know much about investing at the time. I was right out of grad school. I was in my mid-20s. I was single, risk averse, and risk averse, not because I couldn't afford to take as much risk, but because I wasn't willing to take as much risk because I didn't know. The lack of education was part of my risk averse circumstance or preference at that time. I was just starting to save because I was straight out of undergrad and grad school, but I did have some goals to become a homeowner. Well, I asked a number of my coworkers, most of them older, to share with me how they were investing in the company's 401k. I had attended some company workshops, so I understood that we had a 401k, but one of them in particular was married with kids. He had owned his home for 30 years. He owned a lot of company stock. So I didn't fully appreciate it at the time, but his 401k allocations probably would not have made sense for me because his finances and his investor profile were very different from mine. And many of you are going to face the same challenge when you ask any of your friends or coworkers or even your parents, perhaps, how you should invest your 401k or your TSP or your 403b. Those recommendations that make sense for them may not make sense for you based on your specifics. So make sure that try to determine what your individual circumstances are, and then let those drive the particular vehicles and investment products that might make sense for you. And those are the things that a professional might be able to assist you with. Next slide. So as we talk about more on financial decision making, I wanted to include this graphic to share with you how financial decisions tend to become more complex as we become more mature or as we age. So for instance, when you're younger, in your 20s, 30s, discretionary spending, that budget, that emergency fund, contingency planning, family planning, all of those things in the accumulation phase, those financial decisions, while they may be new to you, they aren't nearly as complex as some of the other decisions that you'll face later. Now, as you move into your preservation stage, ages 55 to 75, where you are pre-planning for retirement, things like investment planning, healthcare planning, tax planning, and then some longevity planning and estate planning become way more important. And then when you get to your distribution phase, where you are starting to liquidate your accounts, live off your accounts, figure out where the money is coming from to pay your monthly bills since you stopped your job, that distribution planning, the RMDs, long-term care expenses, healthcare expenses, estate planning, your wills, your trusts, your charitable contributions, all of those become a lot more complex as you generally age, as you generally mature, as your assets and income tend to increase over time. Next slide, please. So one of the things that I wanted to discuss was, if you have insurance planning as part of your financial plan that you're developing, there are a lot of risks that you may be aware of. And life insurance is probably one of the ones that most people are aware of. We understand life insurance can be really important to help replace lost income at the death of a loved one. But many of us probably don't appreciate how important disability insurance could be. According to the Social Security Administration, about a quarter of 20-year-olds during their working life will become disabled to some degree. When we get to older ages, the healthcare insurance and Medicare insurance become really important because Medicare only pays about 60% of retiree healthcare costs and does not cover dental, vision, hearing, or long-term care costs. So that first graphic there, the long-term care insurance, becomes really important because healthcare plans and Social Security do not cover long-term care. Now, according to Fidelity, a 2020 retiree healthcare study they did, the average healthy couple age 65 can expect to pay $300,000 out of pocket for healthcare costs over a 20-year retirement. That's including premiums, co-pays, co-insurance, but that's a lot of money. $300,000 out of pocket that a couple age 65 will be expected to pay for healthcare costs over a 20-year retirement. So if you're not married as an individual, that's still $150,000 on average out of pocket that you may or may not have available. So, figuring out how you're going to pay for that healthcare insurance, those healthcare expenses in retirement can be a really big part of a good financial plan. Most of us are aware of property and casualty insurance for your house and your car, because if you get sued or there's some damages and you're found liable, you want to make sure that your coverages are adequate to cover your assets and your income so that you don't end up having to pay the difference out of pocket. You want to make sure that the insurance coverage is adequate to cover you. And then finally, for a lot of people, Social Security and pensions might be enough to cover your expenses in retirement, but for many Americans, according to the research, many Americans have not saved enough money to support themselves for a lifetime of expected income. So sources like Social Security and pension may be inadequate, particularly to keep up with inflation over a 20 or 30-year retirement period. So in that case, an annuity might be used to convert a portion of your retirement funds into a reliable income stream that might be able to supplement what Social Security and your pension might be providing to you. But keep in mind, an annuity, that payout is based on the claims paying ability of the insurance company that's offering the guarantee. So you do want to make sure to check the rating of the insurer. Next slide. So this one, I do like to include taxes because, as they say, it's not what you make, is what you get to keep. So at every age, being tax smart can help or may help reduce your IRS tax bill so you can keep more of your money. And when you do that, that extra money can be used to pay down debt, can be used to save or invest or give charitably. So we're not going to be able to discuss all of these important tax-related concepts, but I did want to share some of them with you so that you at least have some baseline of some information that you need to go research and find out more about so that you can help enhance your financial education and your financial knowledge. Now, some of these are geared towards people who are starting out or lower income earners, like the Savers Credit and the Earned Income Credit. But a lot of these other terms are relevant for most taxpayers, such as adjusted gross income. Almost everyone needs to know what that means because there are a lot of government programs, there are a lot of tax items that are related to that calculation of adjusted gross income. So that's definitely one everyone needs to be familiar with, as well as basic concepts like whether an investment is taxable, a tax exempt, or tax deferred, either income or investments. So again, we're not going to cover all of these, but use this as a starting point for your research and finding out more about these important tax-related concepts. Next slide. I want to talk a little bit more about taxes and this notion of tax diversification. And as you grow your income and wealth, tax diversification becomes more and more important. And this is an area that a lot of people have probably overlooked. They have probably stacked a bunch of their investments in either 401k plans or 403bs or TSP, perhaps in a traditional IRA, or they may have access to a pension. What happens though is in retirement, when you get ready to pull all of that money out, every single dollar under normal circumstances will be taxed at ordinary income tax rates, which are the highest tax rates or some of the highest tax rates that you could incur. That's called a tax concentrated portfolio. And that's what a lot of people have if they have not done some financial planning specifically related to not just help me manage my taxes today, but looking forward to when I need to access funds, what is going to be the tax implication of those funds when I pull them out of the various accounts. Some investments are specific, and it doesn't matter what type of account they're in. Sometimes the type of account they're in, like in a Roth, the taxation of the Roth account itself over supersedes the specific investments that might be in that Roth account. So because you have put money in the Roth on a pre-tax basis and is grown tax deferred, all of those funds, if you meet the qualifications for it, can come out of your account tax-free. So a tax diversified portfolio is going to give you, your financial advisor, your tax consultant, a lot more tax flexibility to allow you to pick and choose which types of accounts or which types of investments you sell if you need to generate income or when you need to generate income in retirement. So that tax diversified portfolio is not on the radar screen for a lot of people, but I did want to make sure to include that concept so that you can start to think about it now, how you might make some modifications as you are developing your financial plan or modifying the plan you already have, how you might want to incorporate the concept of a tax diversified portfolio to help you adapt to not just what you have today, but how your situation, both income and assets and wealth, might change over time. Next slide, please. So we talked about all the aspects of financial planning and how you could do some of that yourself, but there are professionals who are available to assist you with some or all aspects of establishing your financial plan. You will have to do some of the work yourself, figuring out your particular assets, what you have, what you owe. You'll have to provide the information, but there are trained professionals who might be available to assist you in analyzing that information and then making some recommendations. So as you are researching and trying to secure professionals who might be able to assist you, keep in mind that they generally need to obtain some type of license to sell investment products or financial advice. Beware of so-called experts without credentials from established institutions and organizations. You want to be sure to ask about licenses, education, certifications, experience, and client base. And what that means is really, how do they work with clients, and do they work with, or have they worked with clients similar to you who are in a similar situation to what you're experiencing. You want to ask about continuing education requirements. Fee structure is really important to understand how they charge for fees for products and services they provide. And then also any regulatory oversight that might apply to the types of products or advice that they provide. Financial advisors can help you plan or map out your financial goals. They may have planning certifications such as the CFP, the CFA, the CHCFC, or the RICP designation. A broker may provide guidance on stocks, bonds, mutual funds, exchange traded funds, etc. Securities license are required to sell investment products. For instance, the Series 7 allows persons to sell almost every type of investment product, while the Series 6 license allows persons to sell packaged securities like mutual funds and variable annuities. An insurance license is required to sell any insurance-based product. And then registration with federal or state securities regulations may be required. For instance, FINRA oversees licensing exams required by most states. Next slide, please. So if there's one slide to provide a good overview of what we've discussed today, would be this one. The financial planning highlights and things you need to remember as you are trying to develop your financial plan. The first thing is to create an emergency fund. And the amount of that emergency fund really is going to depend on your specifics. It could be 400 to 500 to start is a good place for most people, but depending on what your income and your expenses are, you might need to have an emergency fund of 5,000 or 6,000 or 10 or 20,000. It really depends on your specific situations. If you have short-term needs, then cash equivalents makes sense for you. But if you are planning for longer term needs, remember item number 2. You don't have to be safe to succeed. Again, cash for short-term needs, cash investments, but for longer-term goals, you're going to need to outpace inflation. So making sure that the types of goals you have, if they're medium-term and long-term, you need to have the type of growth assets that will allow you to outpace inflation and perhaps get some growth on those accounts over time, because your risk of loss over time tends to decrease if you have a long enough time horizon. The third highlight, diversify your investments. Start though by learning some basic concepts. We've talked about many of them today: interest, inflation, compounding, asset allocation, diversification. Those diversifying your assets among investments with different characteristics is really important. Different risk and return characteristics, different tax implications, all of that diversification is really important. Keep in mind that asset allocation and diversification do not guarantee a profit or eliminate the risk of loss, but they can be helpful for keeping you on track and helping you stick to your investment plan, sticking to your financial plan. Item number 4, automation. Automating your bill paying, your savings, your investments, all of those can be really good strategies to help you stay on track and help you stay with your financial plan. Item number 5, we showed quite a bit of information about minimizing taxes, right? You want to keep as much of your money as possible so that you can grow your wealth as you are growing and building your income. Seek tax efficient investment strategies and products and services, again, so that you can minimize taxes. Keeping in mind some strategies you might pay more taxes today, like a Roth IRA or Roth 401k or 403b, but you do that with keeping minimizing taxes in the future in mind. So there may be some short-term or current trade-offs for what you're trying to accomplish in the long term. Number 6, and this one is really important, beware of hot tips. Beware of scams and FOMO, fear of missing out. A lot of people are, particularly pre-retirees, who feel like they haven't saved enough, like they need to make up for lost time. You may be more vulnerable if you're feeling that way. So make sure that you are seeking out sound advice and education from reliable sources. The government affiliated sources like irs.gov, FDIC, this organization, NCUA, and the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau all have robust educational content that can help you learn the basics. So start with the basics. Make sure you're using trusted resources and reliable sources. Item number 7, develop a plan. That's what we're here today to learn more about, right? Developing a financial plan. Develop your financial plan and then stick with it. And the stick with it has an asterisk, right? Stick with it, the major portions of your plan. But remember, I said a financial plan is not a static document. It is something you need to review periodically and then make adjustments along the way based on life changes in your situation, not because I decided to take a vacation or splurge on something. The stick to it is to not do those splurges, but making sure that you adjust as appropriate as your life situation changes. And then the last one, seek professional guidance to help you protect your assets, your income, your health, your home, your car, but also those professionals can help enhance your decision-making skills. Next slide. Ms. Gordon mentioned some disclaimers at the beginning. I want to highlight some of them as well. The foregoing material is not advice. It is for educational purposes only. These are my opinions, not those of Raymond James, whom I'm affiliated with, or the event sponsor. Make sure that you consult your own advisors before making any financial decisions. There are a lot of disclaimers in small print associated with a lot of investment products. So just make sure you read the fine print and understand what you're investing in before you make any financial decisions. Next slide, please. Thank you so much for attending today's session. I know we covered a lot. This slide deck will be made available to attendees. I'm Lonta Evans-Mott. Here's my contact information, and I wish you the best with your financial planning journey.
Thank you so much, Lanta. You have provided a great deal of information to be able to assist us with getting started or even just getting more consistent with our financial planning goals. So we thank you and we appreciate you. And because we know that credit unions play a key role in helping both individuals and the communities that they serve in to build financial well-being, we've invited Mark Cruz and Audra Pettis with Labor Credit Union to discuss their financial planning and education programs and resources. We hope their important work gives some of today's credit union attendees some ideas for what they might be able to do with their own credit unions. Audra and Mark, I will pass it over to you.
Thank you, Ashley. And thank you again and the NCUA for inviting us for today's seminar. My name is Mark Cruz. I am the Marketing and Branding Manager for Labor Credit Union. I'm joined by my esteemed colleague, Audra Pettis. She's a VP of Operations. A little bit about Labor, next slide. We offer a wide range of financial products and services designed to engage, empower, and create opportunities for its members and contribute to their financial well-being. This is our mantra. We believe in this wholeheartedly, and that's why we develop programs for our members nationwide so that they can take advantage and become financially literate and understand how to manage their finances. Next slide. I will cover an overview of our financial education programs and our resources that we provide. I'm going to share a success story of Ms. Campos. We recently wrote a blog about her and how she became successful for her and her family. And we're going to talk about our 2025 plan so that maybe in turn you can go to your credit union, understand what the different programs that they offer, and see what we plan to do in 2025 and beyond. Next slide. First and foremost is our resources. And I do not have this on the bullet, but I want to let you know that our resource is our employees, first and foremost. All our financial wellness advisors go through the financial counseling certification program to get credit union certified financial counselor designations. So these mean that they are able to educate our members through their credit reports, debt consolidations, and understand what members are going through, on top of the resources that we have provided, which means educational videos on our website regarding budgeting, understanding just even the basics of a bank and a credit union. We are partnered with Balance, and one of the main things that we have there is people can actually have a financial coach online where they can call at their convenience. Once they get the information from the financial wellness advisors, they can call at their convenience and also talk about their debt and budgeting counseling, as well as their credit report. It's very pivotal that people understand their credit reports so they can help acquire those and understand what they read. For our youth members, we have what's called a Coindexter Club Financial Games program. This is for videos, games, and helpful tutorials for kids 6 and 12 years old to understand their finances. We understand members have kids and they need to educate them. This is another resource that they can go online to our website and watch videos to help educate them how to budget, understanding the investments, and overall just how to spend money wisely. To protect our members with their finances and understand, we need to provide resources in case they have identity theft and protect themselves even from getting it. So we have digital defense training programs, which is available online. Plus, we partnered with Next Gen Strategies, which is the identity theft protection, free of cost for our members. If their information was compromised, our remediation program is free of cost for our members to help them alleviate and take care of any fraud that has incurred with them. Next slide. Some financial education seminars. This is where we have boots on the ground as well as our webinars like we have here. We host them online for our Department of Labor, select employer groups. We have partnerships with the University of District of Columbia, and also our partnership with CU Wealth Advisors. So Lanto described about wealth advisors. These are certified financial advisors that will help talk about investments, plan for retirement, help set up your children for college, and it's all free of cost to talk to them. Again, like I said it before, members who set up appointments with us and our financial wellness advisors, they can go through us or go through Balance program, completely free of charge for our members. This is some of the things that we plan to roll out, that we have rolled out. And one of the key things that we've seen to measure our members' financial wellness is, if you go to the next slide, we have someone named Miss Campos. We recently featured her in our Hispanic Heritage Month blog, and she was an immigrant to the United States. She currently works at the Department of Labor, spoke very little English when she started here, but she was able to speak to our financial wellness advisors, set up accounts for her and her children, was able to finance her vehicle, her home, and set up her children for their future. She has done so well and is very grateful for the Department of Labor for all the resources that we provided. And we love having her as a member. I think it's been over 10 years, if I recall the blog. So Ms. Campos, thank you for allowing us to share this. But that's one of the success stories that we've had at the Department of Labor, Federal Credit Union. Next slide. Now I'll hand it off to my colleague, Audra, for our 2025 plan.
Thank you, Mark. An excellent job. I would like to lean into the fact that we lead with financial education. We do not lead with the sales mindset. We do not lead with a membership growth mindset. We lead with the financial education because our best practice has been, when we show our membership and our communities that we care, the membership growth comes. When we are present and we make ourselves accessible and we lead with the intention that we are genuinely here for our members' well-being, that membership growth comes. They join us, they refer their family and friends. And so we have been very, very intentional about making sure that we prioritize financial education, financial empowerment, and financial well-being. And you will notice that I'm very intentional about not referring to it as financial literacy. I avoid using the word literacy because if people are not well-versed in understanding their finances, it is not to say that they are illiterate in it, right? We want to financially empower our members. We want to financially empower our communities and focus on their financial wellness, not literacy. So you will never hear me refer to that. And I implore you all to pivot your speech and your mindset when it comes to referring to it as financial literacy. There are many other words of empowerment that can be used with what we are trying to do with our communities. So as far as our 2025 plan, we have a partnership with a high school in DC where we will be workshopping our licensing, I should say, our workshops with our partner who is known as Balance. And one of the things we love about Balance is they give us the option where they can facilitate the workshops for us, or we can purchase the licensing. They will co-brand all of the content, and then we are able to go in person and facilitate these workshops ourselves. And they also have Spanish-speaking workshops. So as we are being more intentional about being inclusive, we love that we are able to offer our workshops in a variety of languages, and we are looking to expand that as the area's very, very diverse demographics require that, right? So we want to make sure that we're able to reach people at all levels. We are going to continue our partnership with the University of District of Columbia because we are of the mindset that We want to facilitate teaching financial education to high schools. That way, no matter what career path someone takes, whether they're going to college, whether they're going straight into the workforce, or whether they are going into the military, these financial education lessons are critical no matter what path that you take, right? We all need to know how to understand how to pay our taxes. We all need to know how credit works and what kind of information is on our credit report. So we're very deliberate about catching everyone in high school and then continuing to have that conversation with our college students who, in many cases, may be tackling a lot of debt, may be transitioning where they are first generation college students. So we want to make sure that they have the resources to be as empowered as possible so they can not only have the information for themselves, but pass it on to their family members so we can really break the cycle of the generational traps that very often affect our communities. So in that regard, we're also working with Prince George's County Public Schools with onset financial literacy. We are extremely intentional about being in person. We love our relationship with Balance. I want to go back to that because they offer a majority of their services for free to our members. And that is a big, big component for me because I am so intentional about access and making sure that our communities, no matter where they are on the tax bracket, are able to afford the services that they are entitled to. I want to make sure that I'm using the verbiage that I want because this is financial education. It is not a luxury. Okay, it is a necessity, and we need to make sure that we are finding resources that make things accessible for all of our communities and our members. So that is very high level what our 2025 plan is. I would take the entire hour if I shared what exactly we have on the radar, but we are very, very excited. We are huge advocates for financial education, and I'm thankful to everyone who has joined this because I believe that you are a huge advocate as well. And I look forward to seeing the great work that we do and that you do for your community. So thank you. Next slide. And that's all for us. So thank you all for being here. Thank you, Ashley, for the invitation. Thank you, Mark, for putting together this presentation. And Ashley, I'm gonna turn it over to you.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you both of you, Audra and Mark, for your presentations. I know we are coming close to our time, but I did want to give some of our audience members the opportunity to be able to ask a few questions. So I'd like to open the floor if we have some questions from the audience. Please remember that you can add your questions to the chat box that's at the bottom of your screens. It's on the bottom right. And I'm going to look and see if I find any. Actually, I see our first question. This is a good one. Look, Lanta, this looks like this might be for you. How do I start financial planning when I'm struggling to save and living paycheck to paycheck? Where should that person start?
I think Ms. Pettis shared a lot of insights that credit unions offer, and she was intentional about not calling them free, but at no cost of services that you are entitled to. So I heard you loud and clear, Ms. Pettis, with that. And I encourage people to use those free resources from credible sources. Like, all free stuff is not necessarily good for you. So you do need to be careful because free is often used as a marketing tool. But I think, credit unions are a great place to start. My personal journey started with a credit union. Fortunately, Hewlett Packard had a credit union in the building where I worked every day. So it was easy for me to join the credit union, participate in seminars and workshops that they hosted. They really helped me with my foundational educational piece. So I've been a credit union member for more than 30 years, and I'm a big proponent of credit unions as that basis for some of that financial education. So I think that's a great place to start.
Thank you. And I see I have another question for you, Lanta. It looks like, what are some common mistakes pre-retirees make?
I think one of the major mistakes they make is underappreciating how crucial Social Security can be towards a retirement that is comfortable. Social Security is probably one of the best government programs ever invented, and it is the primary program keeping a lot of seniors out of poverty. The research shows that, and children of workers who may have passed on, keeping them out of poverty. So it's a really important program, but there are specific requirements. There are calculations and formulas for how your benefits are calculated. It can get a little bit complicated. So taking the time to really understand how Social Security is going to fit within your overall plan to make sure that if you have income shortfalls, you can start planning for those well before you get to retirement age to try to shore that up. Or it might even include, working longer than you may have intended so that you can maximize that Social Security benefit, but then also put other retirement income sources in place to help supplement that.
Okay, thank you. And it looks like I have a question for Mark and Audra. Let's see. Okay, at credit unions, we do a lot of programming focused on education. How are you all sure that your work is having an impact on your members?
So would you like the fun answer or the boring answer? I'm gonna give you both. So
Thank you.
the boring answer, but the necessary answer is you do need data. You do need data analytics. You do need the ability to track. So if you are using a program that offers data analytics, if you have to bring a clicker to your events just to track how many people you've engaged with, all of that is necessary when you are asked by any member of leadership, what have you done for me lately? You need to be able to have those numbers to show it, because most of us know that our leadership, they are numbers driven. So have the numbers to back up anything that you are doing. And if you don't have them, figure out a way to find them, because most of these programs all have some sort of data analytic component. Now, of course, the more fun answer is feedback. Anytime that your members come to you and share with you how much they enjoyed it, that's always a winning feeling. I would say membership growth is a good indicator, because people don't want to bank in places where they don't believe they can grow. So if your membership is growing from your impact, that is one indicator of that you are doing something correctly. And then I would say referrals, right? So if you are somewhere and you are engaging and you make connections, and then they love the work that you've done for them and they refer you to someone else, that also is an indicator that you are doing something correctly, because no one is going to refer anyone that they did not have a pleasant experience with.
Thank you, Audra. And I see another one here that's interesting. How should I diversify my financial portfolio as someone in their 20s? Lanta, I think that would be for you.
I think if you go back to that PowerPoint slide I had, it really is going to depend on what else is going on with you. Do you have, as Ms. Pettis mentioned, do you have a lot of college debt? If that's the case, you may not have as much money to invest either in your 401k or investments outside of that. That might need to be a focus. Do you have an emergency account? There are some basics that you probably need to do before you go all in into investing. But in terms of diversifying, you want to keep all those things in mind: the types of assets, what they're designed to do, what type of accounts you have them in. So there's no one size fits all. Sitting down with some of the financial counselors that they mentioned at the credit unions, seeking out the assistance of a financial professional that might be outside of that is a good way to get started, to help you tailor a plan that makes sense for your specific set of circumstances, both today and that might align with where you're trying to go in the future.
Thank you, Lanta. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Audra. These were, and I see that there are some other questions. We're going to make sure that there is an email that goes out to all of our attendees. So if there are additional questions or comments, you can submit those there, and you'll also have all of the slides from today's presentation. With that, I'm going to invite my colleague, Salma Sarkis, to come on screen, because she is going to share a presentation with us before we close out. Selma, I'll let you take it away.
Thank you, Ashley. So yeah, my name is Selma. I'll be going through some of the resources we have available at NCUA for people looking to have some financial planning. So we can first start by exploring the financial planning resources that are available on mycreditunion.gov. So this website is designed to offer some critical guidance through various life events, helping individuals navigate their financial decisions with confidence. So on mycreditunion.gov, you'll find a range of educational tools that cover key life events like saving and investment if you're looking to build your wealth, going to college, managing educational costs, home ownership for first-time home buyers or those looking to refinance, protecting yourself from financial fraud and safeguarding your assets, buying a car, dealing with consumer loans, and even dealing with other unexpected financial challenges. So these resources are designed to help empower you to take control of your finances at every stage of your life. And if you're a Spanish-speaking consumer, we also have a Spanish version of these resources available at espanol.mycreditunion.gov. Just making sure that these tools are available to the broader community. Next slide, please. Yeah, so NCUA has definitely prioritized a mobile-first design, making sure that you can access these financial planning tools on many different devices. So no matter the screen size, no matter the device, whether you're on your mobile, maybe your tablet, your desktop, visit mycreditunion.gov and you can have a user-friendly experience. Next slide, please. NCUA also offers a series of money basics guides that are very valuable learning tools for both consumers and educators. So these guides were initially developed to assist financial educators, credit unions, and other financial institutions in their efforts to promote financial literacy in their communities. So these guides are great if you're looking to build your financial knowledge and gain practical skills on how to manage your money. And they also include a variety of activities that can be used to reinforce these concepts. The guides provide essential insights into everyday finance topics and are suitable for group workshops as well as individual learning. So good for both educators and credit unions as well as individuals. Whether you're leading a financial literacy workshop or enhancing your own personal finance habits, these resources are an excellent foundation. We have the Money Basics Guides to Savings and Checkings Account. So this one introduces consumers to foundational tools that they may need to manage their finances. We also have the Money Basics Guides to Budgeting and Savings, which focuses on the importance of developing a budget, helping consumers track their income and expenses, and avoiding debts and building wealth. So again, both of these guides are available in both Spanish and English, and we will actually be publishing versions of these guides specifically for high school students in the future. So stay tuned on mycreditunion.gov for more information on that in the future. Next slide, please. And finally, this resource is offered by NCUA. It's a guide titled How to Develop a Financial Education Program at Your Credit Union. It provides a really useful roadmap for credit unions that are looking to either start or enhance their financial literacy programs. Financial education, as we spoke about, is a core mission of many credit unions, and so through this guide, NCUA can help support credit unions in promoting the financial well-being of their members. The guide helps credit unions by outlining essential tips like establishing goals and objectives for their members, developing a plan, leveraging resources and partnerships, and then executing and evaluating this plan. So you can find this full guide as well as all the resources we talked about and additional resources at mycreditunion.gov. Next slide. And yeah, you can feel free to contact us with any questions or additional comments at consumereducation@ncua.gov. I will pass it back to Ashley. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Salma. Thank you, Mark, Lanta, and Audra. We appreciate your time today. You've given us some great information to chew on, and so we want to thank you. And we also want to thank all of our attendees. Thank you for being here today. We hope that you've learned a lot and that you'll be able to take this great information back to your credit unions and to the financial education programs that you work with. We will be emailing you to ensure that everyone has the slide deck and also a link to this video for your future reference. And there will be a survey At the end, as we close out this webinar, we ask that you just take a minute to fill out that survey. It helps us to be able to design and improve offerings for all of you attendees. So we thank you and hope that you have a great week. Take care. Bye-bye.